Oh, I want to ask you, what did you think of the call?
Oh my gosh! We need a whole episode just to talk about that episode.
What
we're
a
not
good
done.
idea.
Yeah.
But John, what would you like to talk about? See, here's the thing, John, is I'm asking you what you think, what you're bringing up, because I care about what you have to say. I care about meeting you where you're at, because that's where we can have a discussion. Instead of bringing up Hitler, instead of bringing up the grand conspiracy, I'm just going to talk to you, and we're going to work. Well, hopefully we can work something out together. What would you like to talk about?
You guys may not remember. I called and talked to you guys about 6 weeks ago, and I tried to call back several times, but I was calling too late apparently because I could never get on the phone.
Oh, okay.
I can hardly remember most of last night.
Not every night is like last night.
Last night was the back cruise.
Yeah, that was great.
But what would you like to talk about, brother? I apologize, I don't remember you.
Oh, don't sweat it, man.
What do you got?
So, it's a topic I'm sure you've heard thousands of times. I've definitely seen tons of episodes about it, but does atheism provide an objective moral standard?
Nope.
Ooh, I can answer this one real quick. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
His answer, well, he got to it quicker, but I want to make sure. When you say objective moral standard, you mean something that can be factually verified, right? So, for example, I don't have a ruler. A ruler is 12 inches, and that's objective, and it doesn't matter what the opinion is, the conclusion follows, right? Something like that. That's like, oh, this is immoral, and here is an objective moral ruler. The measuring thing, not the person.
I guess that's probably a good way to put it. I guess maybe a better question is there actually the thing called morality or immorality or good or evil, or are these just things that we have labeled and described?
What an interesting question.
They are things we've labeled and described. It's sort of like, is there actually such a thing as social class? Yes, because it's a concept that humans deal with.
Yeah, I mean...
But only in that context.
Well, here's the thing. When I came out of Christianity, I still didn't want to murder people. I still wanted to be good to my neighbors. I still wanted to create community.
I would have thought.
And help raise funds for people who needed it, and put together support and relief efforts. I was still that person, and yet I didn't think that there was a Christian moral lawgiver who was forcing me to do it. What kind of weird state would that was a weird place to be, right? Mm-hmm. And it turns out I was asking the wrong question. And I'll try and give you the best answer that I've been able to come up with. Well, not come up with. I can't take credit for that. I was able to find, right? Because we have this, we're seeing that we're treating each other a specific way, right? Why do we do that? Why do humans value life over non-life? Why do we value other humans over animals, for the most part? Why do we have these different mores? And here's what I've been able to find out. And mind you, this is me. Atheism is just a stance on whether a God exists or not. There's nothing else after that, right? But from what I've been able to see and learn, we are amazingly adapted to being social creatures. And so even in our brains, we have mirror neurons that fire off. You can actually stick someone in an MRI and see it happening, where if they see a picture or a video of another human suffering, right, parts of their brain will connect. If you see someone who has their hand smashed, then you will actually, in a way, feel that pain in that related part of your brain. You literally can, in a way, feel for each other. And yes, depending on how much that person looks like you, how much you connect with them, that pain response can be weaker or stronger. But that goes a long way to being a foundation to why we treat each other the way we do. There are a lot of things that we consider moral or immoral that, I think are have nothing to do with kindness or the way we treat each other, but they've kind of latched on. But I think the big things that every society has found its way to, right, of being kind, of creating community, of, when your brain, when you experience community, when you experience these human connections, your brain floods with all of these feel-good chemicals. And, there's a reason why we touch. There's a reason why we speak and need each other. And that is very, very biological, very chemical. And I think that we have created our moral systems around that.
Mm-hmm. And would you say that those characteristics are essentially good?
You know what?
By definition.
I mean, yeah, because we're defining.
Yeah. That's what good means.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
To
No, Jamie, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
You said
we
it.
do things because we care for each other.
Yeah.
And okay, so I guess that leads me to another question: is caring for each other good?
I think so. Yeah.
Mm.
So would not caring for other people be considered bad?
Well, hold on a second. Now we're getting into
the specifics.
Yeah, we're moving from is to ought.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I was giving you a descriptor, the best descriptor that I was able to find biologically. Just because I was able to give you a descriptor doesn't mean that I'm able to give you a should because of the descriptor, right? Because I mean, I can describe this mug perfectly. You know, I can say that this mug says "Talk Heathen" on it. I could say that it's white. I could say that it's filled with an energy drink, and it's about half full. So after I describe that to you,
it's not all.
I can't then say it would be a good thing to chuck it against the wall. I've just described it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it is not a satisfactory answer by any stretch of the imagination. And I hope as I learn and grow, I can do better at answering that. Jamie, do you have a better answer?
Does that get close to the kind of thing you were asking about?
I guess I don't. I guess I don't see the answer in the explanation that Eric gave. Because I think you're right. You know, moving from the is to the ought, and I guess the ought is what I'm actually curious about. Like, we ought to not kill each other, but why is that? Is there an objective reason not to kill each other?
Well, now that
It's
there,
a qualitative question. Yeah.
yeah. Because here's the thing: why are we asking that question in the first place? I'll tell you, for me, I think I asked that question because I was brought up in a church that said that there had to be an outside source to validate that ruling, right? To validate that decision.
There has to be or not. Yeah, I don't know if there has to be or not. It's just.
I think we individually and largely societally create what our goals and purposes are, and we work to achieve those purposes.
Do we also create our own morality?
I don't think so.
Depends on what you mean by that.
So, is morality something? Is it something that just exists, but we can't explain why?
Well, we can. I mean, I gave you the best explanation that I could.
Well, what I mean is like the ought. You know, is there?
It exists for the same reason, for the same type of reasons that you ought to obey traffic laws. Because we agree that they are the mechanism by which human societies function and serve human well-being the best.
Yeah. But traffic laws, and I'm not trying to...
I mean, to be clear, some people need to drive faster. But, traffic laws is a bad example, but it's sort of the foundational things that we agree upon in order to live in societies well.
So we do agree on what is moral.
Yeah, and when there's disagreements, I think we have to find a way of reconciling those. And when there's disagreements about what the law should be, depending on the structure of the government, you go through a process to determine what the law will be. When there's a disagreement.
Yeah, I'm not so much talking about laws. It's just like, you know, I don't want to call morality a law.
It's not. No. What I mean is that societies and the things that they value are in part reflected in the laws that they impose. And so, for example, for a long time, it wasn't illegal to be a bastard, right? There wasn't like an extra bastard tax. You're a bastard, we tax you more. But it was socially unacceptable. Not just to have a bastard child outside of marriage, but to be a bastard. It was like, oh, you're, unclean or whatever. I wasn't alive at the time, so I don't really actually know whether people did this or whether that's a new gesture. But yeah, society has values and they're shared, and that's where communities come from.
Sure, and I understand, but I mean, there's a difference between like values and morality, right? I mean, you could value, your antique collection. Your antique collection has nothing to do with morals.
Well, yes, but it's a different use of the word value, right? So to avoid the inadvertent equivocation, it's to hold as valuable or to find important for yourself is different than these are the things in general that we evaluate in terms of like whether or not they are good. Right? So whether or not a thing is personally meaningful to me varies from whether or not, I've received a bouquet of flowers, right? That's not a moral question. It's just excellent and they smell nice. Whereas, all right,
So
this person
when it
didn't
comes
commit
to-
murder, I value that because that is a moral choice to make. Generally.
Okay, so when it comes to two groups of people or two people who have different values in the way that you're using it, and like Eric said a minute ago, when they contradict each other or they're separate, different, or whatever. He said you try to like reconcile them. If I'm not mistaken, that's what you said, Eric.
No, did I?
I said that.
Yeah, Jimmy did.
Are you going to ask how that takes place?
It's all good.
No, not how that takes place, but what makes one right and the other wrong.
Really quickly.
There isn't an objective measure to determine which one is right or wrong.
Our live chat caught on to me.
Does that mean that there is no objective, like premeditated murder would not be objectively wrong? It would just be subjectively wrong.
The action, it depends on the framework. So really, the question that gets more to the root of the problem that you're trying to address is, are there objective moral values? Because if I set up a list of values, for example, it is better to be alive than dead generally, it's better to prevent suffering and create pleasure generally, right? You can use those values to evaluate the outcomes of an action, right? Whether or not there is an objective set of values, the answer is no. So it's one step removed from the way that you asked the question, but I think the thing that you're getting at, which is there a correct answer for whether or not this is right? Human beings have always determined what the right thing to do is.
John?
I can disagree with things in the past when people had different values, but that's because they don't match.
Yeah. John, we are lucky enough to have Claire Woolner, who is host of Godless Bitches, who just walked in and would like to add something.
Awesome.
Hi, John. Do you know who I am?
Hi, Claire.
Hi.
I have not heard of you, which
Okay.
surprises me because
You should also watch and listen to Godless Bitches. It's excellent.
for many years.
Okay. I've been on the Atheist Experience a couple of times, and the thing that I want engraved on my gravestone is someone called me the blue-haired, highly educated lecture lady.
That's right.
I am a biologist by training. I have a PhD in biology, and the thing I specialized in was in what's called behavioral ecology. And one of the things that behavioral ecology shows statistically is that sociality is evolved. It is not something learned. There are cultural aspects that are learned, like if you look at orcas, they have within pods certain things that are passed on from generation to generation, and human beings have the same thing, religion, traditions, whatever. But by and large, if you want to be a social animal, there are certain behaviors that you simply must exhibit. If you don't exhibit those, then you are going to be ostracized, and what we do in our society is put you in jail or put you on an ice floe or whatever. So the best place to look if you want to find out more about this, why sociality and morality, we call it morality, it's just social behavior, is if you look on Wikipedia under the evolution of eusociality. Bees, wasps, and ants, the Hymenoptera, show the perfect example of how the first of them were all asocial. If you look at bees, the vast majority, there are 35,000 species of bees. Only 11 of them are social. The rest are asocial. They live everywhere from absolutely by themselves to like honeybees, where they can communicate and do all sorts of amazing things. And there's everything in between. And if you look at the genes, they map to the behavior. So it evolved socially. It evolved by natural selection. There's your short answer.
Claire, thank you so much.
But
Can we get a hand for Claire?
animals and insects have any concept of morality, though, or right and wrong, good and evil, right?
Only if they're capable of having concepts of things.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a really great question. Do you have to understand morality to exhibit those behaviors? I don't think so.
No.
I think we've been able to see plenty of times other species exhibiting what we would call moral behavior.
Yeah,
and
like
that
2-year-old children, they don't understand anything, but they can learn to share.
Well, and I'm like in capuchin monkeys, in dolphins, and even like Claire was
Capuchin
saying,
monkeys,
insects.
2-year-old humans.
So, see, why the fuck are we up here? I feel like some.
Well,
I got nothing.
It's because we're really good at smiling.
I guess I just can't seem to
It's a difficult
grasp the
thing
concept.
to
that,
adjust to.
Well, it's just I can't seem to grasp the concept that it seems to me that there either is, what I mean by logical deduction, there either is objective morality or there is not objective morality. If there's not objective morality, then it can only be subjective morality. And if there is only subjective morality, then there's no such thing as right and wrong.
Stop. Hold on. Wait.
Nope.
Wait.
Nope.
That's a great place to stop.
Yeah.
Okay? So here's the thing. That's an appeal to consequent. If there's only subjective morality, then there's no such thing as right and wrong. What you're doing is you're saying, if there's only subjective morality, that sounds real bad.
Yeah.
The fact is I wish I could create a machine that I could use to determine what is the most and least moral. I wish that I could measure it and weigh it. I wish that it had qualities that we can determine, but to the best of our knowledge, they are what we ascribe to them.
Well,
and it's not comfortable, but...
And we do that because
I'm not
of
sure
our
that's a
opinions,
helpful
right?
characterization.
Oh, go ahead, Jamie.
No. There isn't any objective thing that we're talking about when we talk about moral or immoral actions. We're talking about ways of evaluating human beings. So the ability to construct such a machine would mean that you've fundamentally changed existence.
Yes, what I'm saying is I wish that morality was something that was objective that we could measure.
I have no idea what that world would even look like.
I don't, but we definitely wouldn't be having this discussion.
Okay, well then. Wants to avoid the discussion.
No, I don't. I just, it sounds really nice.
Sorry,
I
you were
really like when
I want this world because that's a world where I don't have to talk to you.
No,
All right,
okay, hold on.
that's fine.
No, what I'm saying, not here, Jamie, not in front of the studio audience.
We're having
front of John.
a wonderful weekend.
Okay.
You could have just played along.
You know what? I hear a lot of I and
All
a lot
right.
of we. That's fine. We can talk about this later.
I feel like you should have just played along. That's what should that. Yeah.
John, do you see what I have to deal with?
Yep. And he comes back
I
every
do.
week.
But you guys
hurts.
are so much fun. I was just there just talking to you guys all day.
Yeah.
So I mean,
There's a place you can do that.
I missed
This
it.
guy gets on Discord all the time.
Yeah, I missed it. When I came out of church, I really, really, really I didn't have a lot of personal, I didn't know a lot of things. And when I came out of it, I needed to rebuild my life and rebuild the world around me. And it would be nice if there was a objective standard of morality that I could just adhere to. But at the same time, Jamie's right. I don't even know what that would look like. I like the world that we live in. And I like the way that we can do our best to create a better world. And
No, he's
Okay.
just walking
So-
past. You're fine. Sorry, he
Is
freaked
it-
out
is
because
it
it looked
fair
like
to
Matt was going
say-
to come in.
Is it fair to say that morality is just what we feel is right and wrong, but it doesn't
No.
necessarily make it so?
I think we make it right and wrong, man.
Yeah, no, the quality of something being right or wrong results in a similar way to the quality of something being legal or illegal. So there is nothing about how I walk or where I walk that makes it illegal. It is a human concept of a law that is applied in one way or another that makes it illegal. And with law, it's actually a lot simpler because you put words on a page and you have an incredibly well-defined process that, like for example, I've written words on this paper. These words, as they exist here, are kind of much more objective than your average moral judgment or discussion, right? But even with law, when there's this says there's a specific law and you have to find a way of interpreting it, we have an entire career path of being a judge and part of the justice system determined to do that. And morality is even more complicated. But it results in a same kind of way, right? So there's nothing about walking that is legal or illegal or moral or immoral. But if I walk across the street where there's not a crosswalk, it's technically illegal, even though you can always get away with it in Austin because everyone does it. And if I walk away from helping someone,
do not take legal advice. Do not take Atheist legal Community advice of Austin. From me. Our president is not doing a good job with that. That's fine.
La tuya. So that's a terrible inside joke to try and bring on the air.
Yep.
But if I walk away from a burning building instead of helping when I easily could, you could call that action immoral. Do you see what I mean? Like, it's the larger context of the situation that determines whether or not the human evaluation of morality falls moral, amoral, immoral. And it's the larger evaluation of the context that determines whether the human evaluation of legal or illegal applies.
So maybe it would be easier for me to understand if we don't talk as in general, but maybe just by like specific independent scenarios or questions, whatever.
Okay.
I just wanted to real quick, because I don't know if I heard you right, Jamie, a minute ago. Did you say that there are no objective morals?
Values.
Objective moral values. Okay.
Yeah.
So is that separate from just objective morals?
So if you're evaluating a specific situation, for example, we'll take the trolley problem. There's a train on a track headed towards one person, and you have the power to switch which track it's on so that so that it's hitting 5 people. Wow, that would have been a really easy trolley problem. It's headed towards 5 people, and you have the ability to pull a lever and switch it to a different track where it just hits one person. So you can use various, there isn't this is objectively the correct answer, 1 + 1 is 2 answer to that, because morality isn't a quality of the universe. It's an evaluation from the human perspective of the universe, right? So you can say, using this value set, using a utilitarian value set, the answer would be you pull the lever because it causes less harm. But whether you evaluate morality using a utilitarian view or a Kantian view or whatever, as the kind of thing that has gone back and forth and been argued one way or another since humans could think and argue.
Well, and
so
you also have the care model.
I just had this thought, because even that trolley example, to me, I mean, of course, that was a very simple hypothetical, and there wasn't like a lot of details behind it. But it would make me question, like, if it was. This still seems to me like it would be subjective whether or not you would, like, what your decision would be, whether you would pull the lever or not. Because let's say, and I'm kind of being like facetious here. Sure. Let's say you have one person on each side of the track, and you have the option to pull the lever. And let's say the train is already heading in the direction of William Lane Craig. But if you pull the lever, it'll go to Matt Dillhunty. And you have the decision to make. Is it now...
Actually,
it's your opinion, how you're going to react to that is your opinion.
That actually is the way that the exercise with the trolley problem. Matt just peeked in the door and gave us a look. That is actually where you go with the trolley problem. Is you then take different versions of it and you say, there's one person on this track, there's 5 people on this track, and there's one person on that track, but the person on that track is a very skilled heart surgeon, the best heart surgeon in the world, and the 5 people on this track are less capable of, offering something unique to society. And
convicted felons.
But those always annoy me because people equate a crime with immorality. But but yeah, you get to evaluations of that, and then there's versions of that like, oh, okay, well now you know the person on the track. Like, oh, okay, so there's 3 people you don't know and 1 person you do know. Do you still pull the lever? Oh, yeah? What if it was your mama? What if she can't move off the track because she's so fat, right? Like, the various iterations of this just continue to change and evolve.
And it's fun. I mean, if you're talking about the one-to-one thing, one person's on one side of the track and 1 person's on the other, we've found that people are more likely not to take the action involved. So they feel much more comfortable not pulling the lever at all if either way someone's dying, unless Jamie, brought in the other possible things. You know them, you like them, you're attracted to them, you need them, or whatever the case may be. The not pulling the lever is going to happen much more often.
Well, I mean,
just because there's a physical doing the thing.
Well, actually,
right?
and what's interesting is people will say that, and what you then offer is the same outcomes, right, from a utilitarian standpoint, where, all right, cool, you are on the train, and it's headed towards 5 people, and it can't stop, but there is 1 person next to you, and you can stop the train by grabbing that person and throwing them in front of it to stop the train to kill 1 person to save 5. Do you still do it?
Right.
And people that will tell you, yes, I will pull a lever or push a switch or wave my hand will then say, well, no, but I wouldn't throw someone. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I want someone else to do the dirty
work. Ways that you can phrase, make hypothetical out of that train concept. I guess I just have a question of, is either decision right or is either decision wrong?
Well,
it depends on what. Yes, they both are both, depending on how you evaluate.
It depends on who you are. We
are so far in the weeds.
Yeah. I mean, I can come up with very, very good hypotheticals where either decision is right.
Right. So doesn't it come down to either one is either one is subjective? It comes down to it being subjective. If there's
it
if
comes
they could
down
both be right and they can both be wrong.
So you can apply different criteria to evaluate it, right? So you can apply virtue ethics or a utilitarian view, and you can get like a sharp split.
Care ethics, Kantian. Here's the thing, John. These are things that we were doing before we started asking each other these questions and before we started building models around these. The thing is we don't actually have a perfectly clear understanding yet that's going to meet to everyone's satisfaction what morality is. We're doing our best to describe it, and it's easier to describe because I can tell you what we know for now. But what we cannot do is stand on top of that and say, if it's just like your opinion, man, then it doesn't matter. Because it does matter.
That's the only thing that does matter.
I mean, it really does matter, and it's complicated, and it's icky, and it sucks. But that's where we're at.
John, I think we should probably get to other calls. There is a Discord where I'm told Eric waxes philosophical at length constantly. The exact address of that, is there a link to that in the description usually?
We'll post the links.
There'll be a link in the description to this video. I knew that before I started the sentence.
Probably not in the description, but probably in the live chat on our Facebook, on our Instagram, Reddit, YouTube. Or YouTube, I just said, we're on YouTube, aren't we?
Yeah, we are on
That's
YouTube.
stupid of me.
Yeah.
We'll post it.
Yeah. I mean, telling them a specific place is better.
Can I ask real quick, a few minutes ago, did I hear that you guys said that Matt was in the room, Matt Dillahunty?
He's in the building. Matt is in the building.
Along with an amazing live studio audience that is still here.
Is very patient.
I was just wondering if Matt was able to hear me. I just wanted to give him a shout out and say I've loved watching him talk with theists and atheists for more over 10 years probably now. I watch videos on YouTube all the time with the atheist experience.
John?
I just give him huge credit for his level of patience in dealing with people who are brain-numbingly ignorant. I think he deserves a medal. I think Matt's a great guy, and I'd love to talk to him one day.
I think not only are we lucky to have Matt, we're lucky to have everyone on the other side of this wall who makes it happen, and I think we're lucky to have our other amazing hosts and our amazing
we
guests.
love you too, Eric.
And Yeah.
It's okay. All right. It's okay.
Anyway,
all right.
let's move forward.
Yeah.
Take care, buddy.
Thank you for calling, John. Stay in touch. Call back.
All right, you guys have a good Sunday. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.
All right. Just moving down the list.
Yeah. Unless we have other